I'm George McCabe, and we're here with Chris Bishop. He's the president of the Greater Las Vegas Association of Realtors for 2018, and we're talking about the GLVAR highlights on the local housing market and some news here around the association. Chris, thanks for joining us.
Thanks, George.
What jumped out at you in the housing statistics that we just released for this previous month, the month of November?
Well, unfortunately, not much happened. The median price stayed the same at $295, so there's really no change. But the good news is that's still up 13% from the same time last year. We had the same amount of sales, so no real change there. And so I think the thing that you can definitely hear about the local Las Vegas real estate market is it's slowed down. And I think that traditionally we would see a stable traditional market at 12,000 homes active on the MLS. And right now we only have around 7,000 homes active. So it's not, completely traditional. We still have that gap. But I think that, agents are out there having to price property well. They're having to learn to spend time on marketing. Many of the agents in our marketplace have never had to market a listing longer than 3 months. And so I think what we're going to see across the board is agents are going to have to show the value that they bring to the table, and it will be helping those sellers sell the home.
So when it comes to inventory or housing supply,
Sure.
Maybe that's some good news for potential buyers, because that's been creeping up, I believe.
Yeah, I mean, for the entire year, we've talked about affordability and the problem in Southern Nevada about having affordable inventory. And when you have more inventory on the marketplace, it leads to more options for buyers. And so we've seen quite a few price reductions in properties. We've seen a lot of new listings hit the market. We beg people all year long, list your home from January to June, and they didn't do it, and now finally they're listing their home with everybody else. And so traditionally every agent out there knows that we see a lot of expired homes in December. For some reason, agents put December 31st on their expiration date on their listings all the time. I've done it myself. And then what we're gonna see is a lot of homes hit the market in January. I mean, that's traditionally what happens every single year. And so I think what we're going to notice is that there are going to be a lot more options for buyers in the marketplace.
That's good to hear.
Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about the association, because this is your last month now as
Sure.
president, and I know you've had some changes with the syndication of data here at the association. Talk to us a little bit about that.
So it's been a great year. I really have enjoyed being president. Honored to have served, and one of the best things I've done in my professional career. Last video, we were talking about syndication, and the board at that time had made a decision not to syndicate data to any third-party aggregators. And we made that decision because we didn't really want the board to be in the business anymore of providing the data feeds. We have brokers that are on both sides of the coin. They want to give the feed, they don't want to give the feed. And it just kind of put us in a bad position, and we wanted the brokers to make their own business decision on what would happen with their listing data, because it is their data. And so we made a decision across the board to end that. A few of the aggregators came back and said, listen, we want to be in business with the board of realtors. We want to work with the local associations because the quality of the feed is the best. And so they actually made a statement that they don't want to get individual feeds from individual brokers. They would rather work with the group together. And so instead of hurting the individual business models of any of our brokers, because really we're here to provide membership services, the only thing that our board could do was really allow the syndication fee to any of the aggregators. And I don't want to say that it's going to be a major change. I know there were many that called in and said, thank you so much, we're glad you took the stance. And then when we reverted back to our previous process, there were many that called in and said, oh my God, I can't believe you did that. And then I had others that called in and said, thank you for doing that, you've saved my business. And so never do we want to be in the position of putting our members out of business or taking away their leads or their listings. We want to keep the playing field as fair as possible while still providing the best value that we could to the membership. And so, when you're in the leadership position, you try to make the best decision. It's not always the right decision, but I think the true sign of a great leader is our ability to notice a mistake and make it right. Is it the end of the syndication issue? No. Down the road, it's going to come back. I think the goal with GLVAR is to negotiate the best deal possible for the benefit of the membership, to make sure that their data is protected and secure. And I think that you're going to see a lot of information come from the Board of Realtors, from GLVAR, talking about this issue more than ever before. So hopefully that helps the membership.
So just to reiterate, because I know there's a lot of detail there, we're right back to where we started. We're back to syndicating the data. That's the status.
Well, I wouldn't say we're back to where we started, because we've actually gone past that. We're back to square one.
Okay.
And so we're building the syndication process from the ground up, because now we believe in being fair. And so if we are going to syndicate, we're going to syndicate to everybody. And so we're in the process of finding out what those agreements look like with the syndication companies, what the policy will be of our new MLS subsidiary, and how they're going to provide the feeds. And so we're literally building that from the ground up. And so I think it'll take us a little bit of time, but it's something to look for definitely in the information.
All right. Well, tell us a little bit about your year as president and what we can expect moving forward when Janet Carpenter takes over.
We just got done with the Realtor Prom series. I've been to 7 installations in the last 30 days. I'm extremely excited about the incoming leadership team. I think every president, their goal is to leave the association a little bit better than they found it. And I was left with a great association from my predecessor, Dave Tina Jr. He was a great president, and he really was forward thinking about getting initiatives started so that next year's president and the year after that could take it forward. And I've tried to do the same thing with my board and with my incoming leadership team to make sure that, it's not one president that makes a difference, it's the 5 before them. And it's those initiatives that were started then that happen now, the president gets credit for. And I think that I got credit for a lot of great initiatives that were started years before. And I think that with Janet Carpenter, you're going to see a very thoughtful president that cares a lot about the membership. I always make the joke, I call her Mother Goose, because whenever I do something wrong, she gives me a whole story on why I did it wrong. But she's just a great person. Tom Blanchard, who's going to be our president-elect, very out there realtor, does everything he can to keep the message going. He's a good guy. You'll see him at every single event that we throw. And he was very passionate about healthcare, and so I think you'll see that roll out from the association if you haven't seen it already. But I think you have a good group that's there to help. Mark Civic will be our new treasurer, and I know that he's been engaged in many of the last finance meetings that they've had to find out where things are at and how to put his stamp on it and make it even better. But definitely have enjoyed it, and I love being president of the board.
Well, it sounds like the members are in good hands, and thanks for a great year.
Thank you.